Hi, welcome to a new studio vlog. If you're new here, my name is Sophia, and if you're not new, then welcome back to the studio. In this vlog, I'm going to be finishing up my reading of The Adventures of Amina al-Sirafi, as well as going over some other books and doing a little bit of writing, so be sure to stay tuned till the end of the video. Grab a snack, grab a drink, get cozy, and let's get into it. I had my birthday a few weeks ago, and so I wanted to go over the books that I got for my birthday. I got 5 books, 2 of them were gifts, and then 3 of them were ones that I decided to buy for myself, because if it's my birthday, rules don't apply. Anyways, the first 2 books I'm going to be talking about are the ones that my lovely boyfriend purchased for me. So first up, we of course have The Adventures of Amina al-Sirafi. This is a bigger book. It is a historical fantasy by Shannon Chakraborty, and this is her adult debut. So I've heard a lot of good things about this book. It is about a retired female pirate set in the Indian Ocean, Arabian Peninsula. So I am excited to read this, and I will be reading this in this video, so be sure to stay tuned to see my thoughts and feelings about it. He got for me The Puppy War by R.F. Kuang. This is the first book in a trilogy by R.F. Kuang. This is a YA sort of fantasy, historical fantasy. I'm not totally sure if the world is based on our world or if it's a new world on its own, but I'm excited about how floppy this book is, and also I'm excited about R.F. Kuang's writing and just finding a new story to get into. Next up is another book by R.F. Kuang. The story behind this is that when we went to my birthday brunch, the breakfast place is next to a local bookstore. So I decided to support a local business and purchase Babel, also by R.F. Kuang. And this has been widely talked about. This is R.F. Kuang's adult debut, and I've never read anything by R.F. Kuang. Clearly, I just got The Puppy War, but this is supposed to be her dark academia novel about sort of languages and translation and colonialism and oppression in language, so I am excited to read this. It is also quite a chonky boy. The last 2 books I purchased for myself. I had an appointment the weekend of my birthday in a neighboring city, and I decided to stop by their local bookstore as well and see what they had. So first up, we have The House of the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. This has been on my list for a really long time, and I am excited to get into it. I actually don't know a whole lot about it, but I've heard rave reviews, and I think that it's like found family, a little bit of magic, just good vibes all around. So I'm very excited to get to this. The last book that I picked up from that bookstore is The Last Tale of the Flower Bride by Roshani Chokshi. And this is Roshani's adult debut, and so this is a fantasy folklore retelling, fairy tale retelling. Yeah, I'm excited to read this. It's blurbed by V.E. Schwab, so I trust her opinions, and it is a little bit shorter of a book, so I'm excited to get into that. Premise is that there is a retired female pirate named Amina al-Sirafi, and she is infamous and has many tales told about her, and the story is told from her narrating this to a scribe, so we get some like fun little asides, and you kind of get the sense that she's winding this great tale. I think I'm about 50 pages in, and we are leaving on the adventure, so things are happening. Hi again. I just finished filming / redoing my entire office / studio, and that's why I'm in the corner over here, because I don't want to show you what it looks like. You'll have to stay tuned to another video for that. But I did want to chat because I have been reading quite a bit. I'm just about halfway through The Adventures of Amina al-Sirafi, and it's getting really good. So far, I'm on about page 240. So far, we have embarked on the adventure for this kidnapping, but we're also trying to figure out if it actually is a kidnapping, because things are not always as they appear in this story. We are learning more about Amina's backstory and like her life while she was a pirate, including her many ex-husbands. Gathering the crew together, we get to see all of them interact. It is really nice that like we get to see them kind of like come back together after being apart for so long, and how they've all changed and how quickly like they all slide back into the same dynamics that they had before. And it is really nice having a main character that's not young. The main character is in her early to mid 40s, and so she has her experience, and she can actually like refer to things that she's been through, as well as like her values and her motivations have changed a lot since she was probably first a pirate starting out. I am going to continue reading. I've got the rest of this book to get through. I will see you in the next reading update.
Alright, I am hanging out in the backyard on this afternoon. I have a little adult beverage, and I'm going to read, I'm hopefully going to finish The Adventures of Amina al-Sirafi. So what I was able to read last night was that plot is furthering quite a bit, and the characters are really being put to the test, as in they're encountering this sort of aspect of their world that they didn't really know about. But one thing that's happening right now that I'm not too sure about, that I don't really like, is that the crew has been separated, and so Amina is kind of like dealing with something on her own, which is like, it happens in books, but also I feel like in this book, like, I want to see more of the crew interacting all together, and like them having their different strengths and weaknesses and stuff. So we'll see. I'm on page 394, and there's 476 pages, so less than 100 pages to go. I have like about an hour until I need to get the dogs dinner ready, so I'm hoping I can finish it today, and then start something new, maybe something shorter. Okay, let's get to reading. One thing I forgot to mention is that there is something in the plot that just happened that made me think that makes me think that they're going to set up this series, or this book, as a series where they have like, I don't want to spoil anything, but like there's certain things they have to do, and they're not going to do them all in this book. So we shall see what, we'll see if that gets announced. I was kind of hoping that this was a standalone, because standalone fantasies are like rare, but yeah, if it's good, I'm going to keep reading the series, but yeah, I don't need more fantasy series to add to my shelf at the moment. So now back to reading.
Try not to show too much of the bookshelves over there, but I just finished The Adventures of Amina al-Sirafi, and I wanted to give my final thoughts and wrap up for this video. I don't think I'm gonna read another book in this video. I actually kind of feel like I want to write, so I think with the next few clips that you see of me, I will be writing. But this book was good. I think I'm gonna give it like 4.5, 4 stars maybe. Basically, I think that it is a long book, but it is worth the length. Towards the end, I was feeling like, one thing I really appreciate about this book is that it uses its time wisely. So obviously they're on a ship, they are traveling a lot, and they don't have access to like teleportation or time travel or anything like that. And so the author made the artistic decision to just skip the days that weren't important, and that made this book feel like it moved a lot quicker than if the author had chosen to do so otherwise. So there are sometimes where like they'll skip 10 days and they'll just give you a brief overview of what happened in those 10 days, as opposed to, you know, going through each of those days or like trying to make up some magical excuse as to why they traveled faster. Because towards the end of the book, I started remembering scenes that happened toward the very beginning, and I was like, oh my god, we've been through so much in this book. Like, we've come so far. And I feel like that is really gratifying as a reader, especially in like an almost 500-page book. It really makes you feel like the length has been worth it. They're definitely setting up this book for more books, but I'm not mad about that. I think this is a really interesting world and a really interesting set of characters, and there is a slight twist at the end that kind of brings the at least first installment kind of full circle, which I really appreciate, and it was a nice little added touch that I think made the book a little more richer as a whole. This book is also really well researched. Like, the amount of like historical context and like facts that are in this book is kind of wild, and so on that kind of scale it reminds me a lot of Andi Darkin, the Andi Darkin trilogy by Kirsten White, that follows like Vlad the Impaler, but if she was a girl. And so from that perspective it kind of reminds me of this, but it also reminds me of like Pirates of the Caribbean or like Sinbad, because of the pirate aspect, but also it has quite a lot of like cheeky humor and like cursing and like funny moments and like inside jokes almost that really made it feel like a rich cast of characters that I really appreciated. One thing that I found funny about this author is that it seems like every single noun always has an adjective in front of it. I think that the clip that I mentioned this in earlier got cut out at some point, but it feels like she uses a lot of really big words and like a lot of words. Like, you could have said that in like 3 sentences or like in 3 words, and you said it in like 8. And I feel like maybe because this is the author's like adult debut, she opted to do that. I haven't read any of her other books, but I thought that was kind of funny. But so that did make it feel a little bit wordy, but I do think that it serves the purpose of making the world seem richer. So I am okay with that at this point. So that is the finished read. 476 pages, not including the acknowledgement and author's note. So I think that's a pretty solid read. It took me a little over a week, I think, which is slower than I'm used to reading, but yeah, overall I'm satisfied with this book. I'm going to pull a few options for my next read, and I will come back and we will chat about those. Alright, so I have picked 3 books that I am going to choose from for my next read, and we will chat about those now. Call Me By Your Name, the infamous movie. This is the book version. I thrifted this a little while ago, and yeah, I feel like we're coming into summer now. This feels like a adequate summer book, and I feel like it's pretty short, so I can kind of fly through this on the way to my next bigger read. So that is one option. The next option is The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune, and this has been on my TBR since like 2017, so this is definitely becoming a mashed potato book, as the Books Unbound podcast community would say. As in, I am trying to find the right time / I really want to savor this book. So I'm trying to maybe get to that point. I don't want this book to go unread. It is on my list of must-read books for the year, so let's hope I get to it at some point. And then the last book, I've been kind of in like a Western maybe mood, is Good Luck Girls by Charlotte Nicole Davis. I bought this book in 2020 in the supporting Black authors sort of movement that was happening that year. So this has sat on my shelf since then, and the premise sounds really interesting. It's about 5 girls that are outlaws, and they are traveling in maybe a post-apocalyptic kind of world. So this is definitely a high contender because it also feels like that's kind of a summer vibe as well, like riding horses out in the desert. I don't know a lot about this book, but the back says Sisters by Chance, Outlaws by Choice. And then there's 5 names with different descriptors. And then it says it's going to take more than luck for them all to survive. So to me, along with this like cover that looks very like badass, I'm kind of feeling like this might be the move. But those are my 3 choices, and you will have to tune in to the next reading vlog to see which book I decide to read. But for now, I'm going to go write, I think, because that is what I'm feeling like, and when I get the feeling, I don't want to shy away from it. So we are headed to go do some writing. You will see that yesterday I went to the used bookstore in my town, and I picked up 3 books from there. The first one is The Hotel on the Corner of Bitter and Sweet by Jamie Ford. I have read this book already and I liked it. I mean, it was a long time ago, but I wanted to have a copy for my shelves, and so this nice little paperback will do just fine. Next up, we have a book I have not read, and is called The Little Paris Bookshop by Nina George. Basically, the premise, from what I can understand from reading the back, is that there is a bookshop on a boat in Paris, and the book owner prescribes novels to people to deal with their hardships in life. And that just seems like the perfect cozy little bookstore read that I want in my life, and so I picked that up. And then the last book I grabbed from the used bookstore is called We Run the Tides by Vendela Vida, and this is a story about 2 young adults, young women who go through an incident, and it kind of affects their friendship, and we'll see what else transpires. It's a short little book. It's just about 250 pages, so I'm excited to read that. I did purchase more books in the span of this reading vlog, but I'm going to save them for a future video because my boyfriend and I are doing a no buy June sort of pact, and so we're not buying anything that we don't need, so things that we want or maybe have had our eye on, we're just going to wait to purchase them and really kind of evaluate whether or not we actually need them or the urgency and things like that. So of course I could tell myself that I need books, but that is not the point, so I will save those for another video. And with that, that brings us to the end of this vlog. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did like this video, be sure to give it a big old thumbs up so I know what kind of content you enjoy seeing. If you want to see more video content from me, please subscribe to this channel. And if you want to see more of my art, you can follow me on Instagram at @thecozyartist. And I hope you have a good day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!